Hi Aries, welcome to your October 2019 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So Aries, if I had to sum up the month of October for you, I'd say that it's really about going beneath the surface with relationships and even the relationship you have to yourself, because the two houses that are most featured in October are the 7th house of your significant other and the 8th house of your, I don't know, I'd call it your psyche, your shadow, what lies beneath the surface. And also the 8th house is death and transformation. Death is the ultimate transformation, but it's kind of symbolic, using that umbrella term to describe any kind of process that a person goes through where they transform from one type of way of being to another. And this is enhanced, I think, because you are having a full moon in your sign this month. I'll get to that in a moment, but that can be like an ending of sorts of the way that you, I don't know, present yourself, are, think, what have you. As the month begins, the sun is in the 7th house. The 7th house not only is committed partnership, but also legal matters. So you may be embroiled in something that needs your attention. Maybe you're getting a divorce. Sometimes when there's energy in the marriage house, it could actually be getting a divorce. That's part of being married, is having that contract that is broken. And the 7th house is contracts as well. Is that true? No, that would be when Mercury will be in there. So there could be some kind of contracts of the variety involving marriage or divorce, whatever, or divorce, or any kind of legal matter that you're dealing with, and the accompanying paperwork, okay? Because Mercury is also in that house with the sun. And so there's a focus on legal matters and partnership. On the 3rd, Mercury goes into the 8th house, which is shared resources. So you could be looking at, with divorce matters, splitting up property. What do they call that? Somebody wrote to me and said, because I was saying, if it's like an issue around a probate matter, we call it the estate, but not when two people are getting divorced. I can't remember what they said it's called, but the money that you and a spouse or an ex-spouse, soon to be ex-spouse, are splitting up, dealing with that, kind of, you get this, I get this. It can be with Mercury in the 8th house, studying something of an occult nature, studying astrology, studying the tarot. Taking some kind of an educational course on these topics. Perhaps writing something on these topics. Maybe you're creating a course of your own. And, things like that. This is on the 3rd, and on the same date, we have Pluto going direct at 20 degrees of Capricorn in your 10th house. Pluto in the 10th house is a very interesting transit, Aries. This has been here since January of 2008. Of course, I'm referring to just the actual date that it went into Capricorn. Where, when it went into your 10th house is a different story, whether you're sun or rising Aries. That's going to depend on your particular information, but in general, being in the 10th house, Pluto can be a ruthless type of an influence where a person wants to get ahead by any means necessary. And this can lead to a fall from grace. This is one of the caveats of Pluto in the 10th. And I would say this especially for a sign like Aries, which is highly ambitious and competitive, and, might believe that you have to do whatever it takes. Not that Aries, to me, is an underhanded sign overall. I don't believe that for a minute. I think Aries is usually very above board, but I also think that Aries, even being above board, may, very openly say, by any means necessary. And so when Pluto went retrograde, whenever that was, I'm thinking maybe, I really don't remember. It's been like probably at least 5 months ago, if not more. This may be a more of an internalized thing where you have had to kind of reap the whirlwind of any kind of underhanded actions or bullying behavior, power plays that you took to kind of get to where you are. And Aries can be a bully when it's imbalanced, when it's in its shadow. Aries just wants what it wants when it wants it. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And when it's imbalanced, when it feels frustrated, it can be quite ruthless, like I said, a very aggressive energy trying to get what its needs met from the world, including realizing its goals. The problem is that we always have to think of others while we're trying to, accomplish goals. And so it's not okay to, trample over others' rights in order to get where you are. Not that, I'm not saying that all Aries people did this. I'm saying that perhaps there was something that you have had to kind of have a correction about, cause and effect. And Pluto direct now, this is very powerful, let me tell you, that Pluto is in your 10th house. I don't mean to imply that it's a bad influence. I'm saying for people who are not secure within themselves, they can find that when Pluto comes into any house, that they may come in contact with less than savory characters. Pluto is the god of the underworld. So we think of people who try to get what they want through sketchy means in this world. And, if you come in contact with somebody who tells you that they can give you success, if only you will, heed their advice and do what they tell you to do, and you are in a weakened state, you feel insecure, you feel like you've had some failures recently, and then you agree to do it. It's like signing on a deal with the devil, in other words. I wanted to just give an example that happened with me. It's not really that dramatic, but I got an email from some entity saying that they can boost the the viewership that I got, and really, I can get all these new subscribers and blah blah blah, and all I have to do is give them control of my channel, and they will answer question, or they will comment on my behalf. I don't know. I really don't know, how they were doing that, how they were like even who they were involved with. But I declined, and I said, that's not, that would be very, that wouldn't be living in integrity, getting false views, getting false subscribers and fake comments for my channel, even if it worked, quote unquote, is not right as far as I'm concerned. That's pretending to be something that you're not. Now, is it truly evil? Well, maybe not, but it's not how I do things. But at the time, I was in a state of like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Because I was experiencing a real stagnation with my subscribers and my channel, and I still didn't allow myself to take that tempting route. It really wasn't tempting for me. I actually feel kind of vaguely horrified that this is even a possibility, because it just goes to show you that there are a lot of smoke and mirrors out here. So living in integrity means that you can look yourself in the mirror. You're not being a phony. You're not being dishonest. You're showing up as you really are, and you'll sleep better at night. Okay. And you know what? When Pluto goes direct on the 3rd, I think that you have kind of like come out of that, maybe, I don't want to call it dark night of the soul, but you may have had some kind of blow to your reputation in certain regard, in a certain regard. And maybe it doesn't have to do directly with career. The 10th house is your reputation. So maybe it's coming from a different area of life. But you have weathered the storm, and now you can move forward. On the 4th, Mars goes into Libra, the 7th house. Mars is your ruler, and you know how you roll and how Mars rolls, which is very aggressive, the god of war. Need I say more? So could it be a legal battle? Could it be a battle with a soon-to-be ex? Could there be for people who are really having a good time, that you are planning a wedding? Maybe the Mercury in that 7th house before was the marriage contract. Maybe Mercury in the 8th is the prenuptial agreement. Who knows? But Mars in the 7th can be hubba hubba, more sexy time for couples. It can be, to quote Borat, I don't know. It can be something good. Maybe you're going to take up hiking with your partner and be more like physical, but doing it, doing exercise with your partner, which is awesome. I think that that's actually a great thing to do with a partner, and maybe not even just like your significant other, but a friend, is to partner up with somebody for physical exercise. Where I live around here, there's a lot of people who work out, and I noticed that, the women tend to kind of walk with their girlfriends. I'm talking about their platonic friends. And sometimes they're just doing fast walking and talking as they walk. And, that's a great way for two friends to kind of hold each other accountable for physical activity too. But they're also, connecting emotionally. Okay. On the 8th, Venus goes into Scorpio, the 8th house. Venus can bring money. So Venus has been in the marital sector. That could be weddings. October is a big wedding month. I've always wondered how October became one of the prime wedding months. I'm assuming it's because autumn is such a great time of year. Maybe it's a great time to take wedding photographs. For somebody who is against marriage, I sure talk a lot about it. I don't know why, but maybe it's because I know most people do get married, right? So, in any case, I'm not against it for other people, just for myself. But if you are getting married, this is certainly a popular time to do it. But with Venus in your 7th house, now Venus does go into the 8th house, in the second week on the 8th. So perhaps, you even did this in September, it's possible. But now that Venus is in the 8th house, it can be receiving money from somebody else. So an inheritance, a divorce proceeding, a insurance payout, maybe even some kind of a tax matter that you overpaid or something like that. Venus in the 8th is great for couples to take their, to really bond, not just have that outer trapping of we're in this relationship, which is the 7th house of, the actual marriage ceremony, the marriage contract, but the 8th house of the two souls melding together. So that can be a deepening influence for people that really could use that. On the 13th, that full moon in your sign, 20 degrees of Aries, that's what I was talking about. Ending something about yourself. Maybe you're closing a chapter in your life in general. This is the 1st house, so something about the way you look, about the way that you act, you may decide to change. You might say, you know what, I'm going to stop being so, I don't know. I don't want to, actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. So that's happening. And then, even whenever there's a full moon, there's an opposition with the sun. So the sun is at the same degree in your 7th house. So in relationships, it can be seeing what your needs are in that relationship. And if there are problems, that need for adjustment, that need for, I need a night with the girls or a night with the boys. I can't just always be with you 24/7. I have to nurture my friendships, and I don't want to feel like I'm doing something wrong if I'm with my buddies on Friday night, something like that. And then it's like your independence that you realize, because the 1st house, as the house of the self, really focuses on your needs. And the full moon brings these to light, you know what I mean? So that's happening. And then on the 23rd, the sun goes into that 8th house. So you become the conspiracy theorist. You become, have that penetrating kind of, what would we call it? Not just intellect, but insight into the secrets of the universe. And because Mercury is there, you might be doing something very much related to, even like career-wise, maybe you're starting to do tarot readings, some of you, and you've been studying it and you decide to go for it. On the 27th or 28th, depending on where you live, I'm in Middle America, so we are 10:38 p.m. on the 27th, Central Standard Time. If you're in the United States, North America, I don't know what Mexico's time zone is, but I'm assuming it's going to be all on the 27th. If you're elsewhere, it'll probably be on the 28th. New moon in Scorpio, 4 degrees of Scorpio. That's going to be in this 8th house. So that could be you launching some kind of a, I don't know, tarot reading service, perhaps. And, the interesting thing about it, or even astrology, the interesting thing is in that kind of time zone or time period of Halloween. It's very Halloween-ish. So that's perfect for that. Speaking of Halloween, and the new moon in this 8th house can be anything that's related to maybe studying and I would say even teaching with Mercury there, speaking on, writing on issues related to the occult. Getting some kind of new development with shared resources. Mercury goes direct in this sector, though, on Halloween. And so there might be some kind of adjustment that needs to be made. I mean, if there's some kind of a contract that, because Mercury has been in shadow right before this actual retrograde period. So you may have accepted an offer that related to a divorce proceeding about dividing property and then come to find out that something wasn't quite right, or a probate issue, something comes to light. So you might have to adjust that. There might be, for the next few weeks, retooling something, connected to a contract. But these things can be temporary, so don't worry about that. And maybe even connected to a matter of the occult, that reviewing some of your beliefs, doing something over again. If you're going to be teaching, doing something over that way. And this is, when Mercury's retrograde, it is a good time for researching things, maybe revisiting things that you have written. Editing is a great Mercury retrograde activity. And I think it's going to be of a metaphysical nature, whatever it is. So, in any case, Aries, boy, does this seem like kind of scorpionic. And it sure is, with all this energy in the 8th house. For Aries, which tends to be much more of an open book. The 8th house is much more secretive. So, anyway, for some reason I wanted to say may the force be with you, which is bizarre, but that sounds good. And I hope you have a great month. If you would like a natal chart interpretation or any other type of reading, please check me out at RainaMoonAstrology.com. The link to my online store is below. I hope you have a great October. Bye.